please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so welcome to Monday, December the 2nd, reorganization meeting. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Welcome back. We're in full speed for Christmas. All right, so I guess I will need a nomination for a temporary president. We need to elect a temporary president, so we need a nomination.
I nominate Jack Bova.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
We have to fill out our little forms for you.
Okay, so, Jack?
A script. Where's my script?
Here, you two,
Give me that. I don't need a script if I have. Seriously, there's usually a script. All right, we don't have a script. So the whole purpose of me being president for 30 seconds is to orchestrate the election of the real president. So what do we have here? There's some nominations.
On your paper.
I was just going to, yes, I know. This is for the benefit, it's for the benefit of everyone, but thank you. You know what, I'm going to change this. I want to nominate Val as temporary president. Val as real president. All right, so we have 3 nominees for what? President. Did I get the wrong sheet? Yep. That is it. 3 nominees for president. So, what do we do? We're going to fill out our little ballot. We hand them in, and you're going to count them.
Everybody get the green one.
Everyone has, oh, that's right, they're color coded.
Color coded, so we can't mess it up. Thank you.
And we got green to match Susan's outfit. So
Oh, Susan, you are color
She's
coordinator.
doing her wicked outfit.
there's a green ballot in there, Susan.
Oh, is that what that's? Oh, don't tell me she doesn't have one. How does she not have one? Oh, it's stock. Susan, you do have it. That was stock. Thank you.
We are a well put together board.
what are the 3 names, so we know?
3 names is Robin Mungo, Dr. Mandel Singh, and Leslie McBride are the 3 names. So everyone's going to vote for one person. We're going to tabulate.
Don't we have to ask if there's any votes on the floor too?
That's a good call. See, that will be on my script. So in addition to these 3, are there any votes?
Or
from the
nominations.
floor? Nominations from the
These
floor.
are the correct.
Thank you. All right, so pick one. We're going to hand these in, and we're going to tabulate. And we need 5 on this first round to pick a president. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Board meeting calendar. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, wait, so
All I have a few moments as president. There's a couple things. That's good.
Jack.
Everybody ready for me to read these?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Bova has voted for Mrs. McBride. Mrs. Morning has voted for Miss McBride. Mrs. McBride has voted for Mrs. McBride. I'm sorry, I apologize. My first vote was from Mrs. Boyce. Now I have Mr. Bova for Mrs. McBride. Mrs. Burns has voted for Mrs. Mungo. Dr. Singh has voted for Dr. Singh. Mr. Ritter has voted for Ms. Mungo. Ms. Mungo has voted for Ms. Mungo. Mrs. Delaney has voted for Ms. Mungo. So we will move to a ballot number 2 for Ms. Mungo and Mrs. McBride.
She needs a different color too.
Yellow.
Color coding.
Change, we have to put changing colors.
Thank you. They're highlighted.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, I saw
our audience is wondering what the G is
Figured
for,
that
that's
out.
Dr. Rossi, just in case. No, Gateway has, the G.
So you're voting for either Ms. Mungo or Ms. McBride. You were eliminated in the first round.
Yes, calmly.
Yeah, you took it like a man.
Cry.
So you just have to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, you're on the wrong color paper.
Mumbling.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
it's right there.
No, I have the proof.
Well, it's right there.
No, I know that. I've just never heard of it.
I have what's happening. You just watch it.
Well, it says, that's what I was trying to figure
Mrs. Boyce has voted for Mrs. McBride. Mrs. Warning has voted for Mrs. McBride. Mrs. McBride has voted for Mrs. McBride. Ms. Mungo has voted for Ms. Mungo. Mr. Ritter has voted for Ms. Mungo. Mrs. Burns has voted for Ms. Mungo. Mrs. Delaney for Ms. Mungo. Dr. Singh for Mrs. McBride. Mr. Bova voted for Mrs. McBride. Mrs. McBride is now the new president.
Congratulations.
Does he still stay temporary while we need a vice? I didn't know
No.
you run it. Oh, okay.
Run it.
Thank you.
So now what do you do?
Jack, I missed you now.
Yeah. I knew you would. Hey, as always, next time.
So now we need nominations for vice president on the floor since Mrs. McBride cannot be
Oh, good
in
call.
both seats.
All right.
I nominate Valerie Warning.
I will second that.
I nominate Robin Mungo.
I'll second that.
Anyone else? Okay, so we are either going to vote for Mrs. Warning or Ms. Mungo for vice president on the blue ballot sheet.
I can't miss. Correcting my I do.
Get out of the way.
I'm not gonna go that way.
Mr. Bova has voted for Mrs. Warning. Mrs. Boyce has voted for Mrs. Warning. Mrs. Warning has voted for Mrs. Warning. Mrs. Delaney has voted for
Yeah,
Ms. Mungo.
technically, you would.
Mrs. McBride has voted for Mrs. Warning. Ms. Mungo has voted for Val Warning. That is 5 votes.
All right.
Valerie Warning is our vice president.
What I want is for a birthday present.
Happy birthday.
Isn't that today?
Is it?
Wasn't today.
I didn't know it was your birthday.
No.
Never mind, we don't have them anymore. They're gone. They're in the little.
After 25?
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Want to say here?
Thank you for the past year, because I will just follow your lead and your organization for the changes that you implemented when.
Let's switch seats.
Oh,
Might as well make it official.
you're gonna pass it.
I never sat on this.
This was my first time too. I was in.
So we keep our side.
We get to sit our seats here.
We could change seats if you like.
Oh, you're gonna change everybody's seats for next time.
Somebody tells me to.
Do I need to close this
No, we're
meeting?
not.
Yeah, we have to vote on the calendar and the solicitor.
Sorry. Okay.
And then we close it.
Next is the school board
This,
meeting.
the school board calendar. You have to call it to order. No, we're still down. They told me I'm still on number 5. Okay. Can I have a motion to set the school board calendar for the 2025 year?
To set the calendar for 2025.
And that calendar stays the same as it was last year.
There are some provisions
Changes.
based on
Due to holidays, yes, yes.
Yeah. Monday, same time.
Okay. Can I, all in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Can I have a motion to reappoint Bruce Dice and Associates as our board solicitor?
So moved.
Can I do an all in favor for that, or do you need a?
Oh, you can-
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you very much.
Okay. And I'm going to call the reorganization meeting adjourned.
Motion's in order to adjourn.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
right here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned. One down and one to go. So now we're going to move on. I need a motion to open? Nope.
Just go for a pledge allegiance.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to move on to the regular board meeting for Monday, December 2nd, 2024. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Janet, can we have a roll
Call, please. Mrs. Boyce? Here. Mr. Bobo?
Here.
Mrs. Burns?
Here.
Mrs. Delaney?
Here, did you mark me here before?
Here. Ms. Mungo?
Here.
Mr. Ritter?
Here.
Dr. Singh?
Yeah.
Mrs. Warning?
Here. Okay, we're going to move on to presentations and comments from residents. We have Mr. Rich Taylor from the Gateway Middle School. He is going to talk with us about his cute little puppy dog he has there. Yeah.
Oh, he just sits here and looks at her.
Oh, so little.
It looks so real. I mean,
You can pass him around.
Is this good? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rich Taylor. I'm a counselor, a school counselor over at Gateway Middle School. I'm here to present to you tonight our dog, Mrs. Kyla. There's a story behind all of this. A couple of months ago, my oldest entered high school, and we were sitting in a hot auditorium in August, and the principal was up talking to the students about, and all the parents, you know, they're just the run of the mill, and the daily schedule, and the process of being a freshman in high school. And the principal kept talking about Asher, and I kept looking at my wife, and I'm like, why is he talking about a teacher, like just saying Asher, not Mrs. Asher, or Mr. Asher? I was totally blown away. So after he was done with the presentation and the kids were going off on their tour, I went down and I started talking to him, and he remembered me. He's the principal over at Penn Trafford, Tony Aquilio, and he was like, Rich, he goes, how's everything going? I said, good. And I said, you have to tell me who Asher is. And he starts chuckling, and he's like, that's our therapy dog here at the school. I said, are you kidding me? He goes, no. He goes, Asher comes every day, greets the kids coming off the bus. He was giving me the whole story about Asher. He goes, let me go introduce you to Mrs. Sherman, one of the counselors, that it's her dog. So went over to the counseling office. She was giving me the whole story and how she got in touch with the dog therapy, or the whole process. She goes, you're going to want to talk to Gloria. She's the evaluator for the therapy dogs, and it's through Alliance dog therapy. Everything is, by the way, I had the papers distributed to you guys, so you guys can look over it. So she gave me the information, and as soon as I got back to school, I mentioned something to Mike Jack. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really going to do this unless I get a good vibe from Mr. Jack. And he like lit up like a Christmas tree. He's like, this is really cool. This is really interesting. He goes, but we're opening a brand new building. He said, can we put this off for a couple of months? And I said, oh yeah, for sure. I just wanted to see what your thoughts were. He goes, yeah. He said, look into it, see what your thoughts are. So I reached out to Gloria. She is a great person. She's a Gateway grad. She actually went to Gateway Middle School when it first opened. And she was telling me all about that. She was a Penn Hills nurse and now does this in retirement. She's a trainer, a therapy dog trainer, has her own dogs. So she told me what I had to do. So Kyla is our house dog. Kyla really doesn't go anywhere, never really did go anywhere. I'm like, okay. She's like, she has to be able to walk by you, not jumping on people. She's like, if you stop and talk to a person, she can't be jumping on your legs or anything, or on other people's legs. And I said, okay. She said, get her out. So all of August, all of September, and most of October, we're going to Home Depot. We're going to Lowe's. We're going to Tractor Supply. So just walking up and down the aisles around people, she did great. The night before her test, the first observation was her test, and it had to be at a medical facility. So the state deems Sunrise School behind Levin a medical facility. So I had her at Walmart one night, and I'm sticking over by the toy section, the hunting and fishing section, and there was this little boy. He was sitting in a cart, and the mom was like, "Oh, such a cute dog." And I was telling her the story. I was like, "Can I put Kyla in the cart with your son?" Because it was about a 4-year-old. She's like, "Yeah, absolutely." Kyla goes in playing with the kid. I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." I put a lot of. I was at ease going into the test the next day. So she did really well. I was really nervous with other dogs because there was probably 10 to 12 other dogs, from big giant dogs to little dogs. She was the littlest. What I found was the kids kind of went towards her because the bigger dogs were more intimidating, especially when I got to like the middle-aged group of kids to the younger kids. They were more inclined to come and pet her. There was, besides her weight and her size, there were a lot of kids that were in wheelchairs and couldn't get down on the floor to play. So I was able to put her in the kid's lap or on the tray of where they were sitting for them to pet her. So it worked out really well. She did phenomenal, pass with flying colors. Her second observation was in November. We went to an assisted living with a dementia unit. The little old ladies loved her because she could sit on their lap. They playing with her. She did excellent. Her next one, her final observation, is on December 11th at Gateway Middle School. Because Gloria was like, listen, I went to Gateway. I was at that school. I can't wait to come back. She goes, can we do the last one at your school? And I go, well, let me double check with Mr. Jack and make sure it's okay. And he was like, absolutely, you guys can come. And I really, just to bring this up on top of this, we started, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I know we have Dr. Rossi and Dr. J.E. come over. Marcy Crow and we started a speaker series this year with our 5th graders. And we brought different people in. We started with the first one. We had Dr. Rossi. He was our guest speaker. Then we went to our SROs, and then we went to the principals, where we would bring all the 5th graders up to the auxiliary gym. We would have a series of questions for our speakers. In November, we had some veterans come in. In the middle of November, we had a representative come from the Caring Place and talk to the kids. This week, we have Dion Butler from the NFL actually coming to talk to the kids. His story is really unique. He bounced around from NFL team to NFL team, always got cut because he could only read at a 4th grade level, and he couldn't read the playbook. So he's going to talk to the kids how important reading is and staying up on that. But on the 11th, when Gloria comes to do her final observation, she's bringing a bunch of other dogs too. And we're going to go around and go into a couple of the classrooms prior to our speaker series. But Gloria is going to be our guest speaker that day. And she's going to talk to the kids about being a dog therapy handler and what it takes and, what you want to do when you're around a dog and things like that. So I highly encourage, if any of you are free, I know it's busy, it's the middle of the day, it's 6 period for us, which is like 12:05, I believe. 12:05, it's like 40 minutes. By the time the kids get in there, it's about a half an hour. But she's going to be there, all the dogs are going to be there, Isla's going to be there. Just if you have any questions, you want to meet her, she's a phenomenal person, great person. I can't wait for her to speak. So December 11th is her last observation, and then she will be certified. She'll be good to go. To keep her certification, I'll have to take her to, once every 3 months, I'll have to take her to like the Monroeville Library or Franklin Regional Library, wherever they have therapy dogs. That will help her keep her certification.
So she needs some CEUs.
Right. So, because she made it clear, she goes, even though she would be going to school with you, she goes, that doesn't count as community service. Like, she's actually working. Like, she would be a tool for me, for us in the counseling office. And, talking to Mrs. Sherman, she goes, it is great when kids come in, they're in crisis, they're crying, they're upset, even high school kids do that. The dog instantly has that effect of just that calm. Does a wonderful job. The kids love seeing her come off the bus, or Asher come off the bus in the morning. She goes, you'd be surprised, a lot of the high school teachers, the calculus teacher, the algebra teacher, hey, we're having a big test, can you bring Asher up? And I talked to a lot of the other counselors in other school districts. On the last page at the bottom, I put a list of school districts that have therapy dogs in their schools. Shingler, South Fayette, Kiski, Avonworth, there's a bunch. And I know, this is just what I got from Gloria, that were already in the schools. And it kind of blew me away when I first started talking to Gloria. She said to me, Rich, she goes, therapy dogs have been around a long time. She goes, but what really kind of like took off with therapy dogs, it happened about 10, 12 years ago. She's like, you should know what happened. And I'm sitting there like, I don't. I said, what happened? And she goes, Franklin Regional. And I said, oh. And she goes, when it was all said and done, and the kids came back to school after what happened, a lot of kids would not go back into the school because they were deathly afraid, and they could not get the kids to go back in. Someone came up with the idea to bring the therapy dogs in. They handed the leash to the kids, and the dogs walked them in. That's how they got the kids to go back into the school. From that point, that's when they realized, whoa, dogs could really have a big impact on these kids. So to talk to you a little bit about Kyla, she is a Havapoodle. Mom was Havanese, Dad was a miniature black poodle. It's ironic, a lot of the dogs, like 99% of the dogs, when I talked to other counselors in the other districts, they were like Labradoodles, Golden Doodles, just that poodle mix. Just because they're hypoallergenic, which is one of the reasons why we got her, because we have kids, our 2 boys at home have really bad allergies, so they're really good around her. They don't shed. I mean, I'm holding her, and there's no hair on me. So that's what's really nice about her too. So she's really good that way. Part of the requirements when she's with me, she has to have this leash on her at all times. She has to be with me. Like if I'm walking in the hallways with her, she has to be on the 4-foot leash. You know how you'll see people walking their dogs, they have that retractable, and it can go further. No, it has to be a fixed 4-foot leash. Now when she's in our office, and what's really nice about how our setup is over at Gateway Middle, you guys have been in our counseling suite, right? So there's a big area like this room, and then off of this is our offices. So what's nice is she'll always be with me in my office, or if Mrs. Howard comes over, or Mrs. Johnson, or Mrs. Edwards, hey, can I mark Kyla? I have a student in need. I could walk her over, and they could use Kyla if she needs to, if they need her. But it's nice because we're in a confined area, and if I do need to step out for a minute, all our doors are swiped, so no one can get into my office, student-wise, I should say. I'm sure teachers will come down and see her. but she really can't go anywhere. I talked to Gloria. I said, okay, so what do I do with students who would be afraid of the dog? Because that would be a concern. And she said, and that happened when I was at Sunrise. There was this little boy who would not go anywhere near a dog. It was kind of into her. So she said to me, she said, have her turn around, put her back to the boy. So she sat down, I had her back to the boy. He started petting her. Before you know it, she was in his lap. So it didn't take long before he was like, oh, this dog's pretty good. The one thing I do have is I have a little crate for her. So I know I have like lunch duty. I would not take her to lunch duty. So I would leave her in my office in a crate. So she'd be crated while I'm stepping out. Or if I have a parent meeting or something, I'm not going to take her to a parent meeting. But there's a lot of things I want to use her. We have our life skills class. We have our autistic support class. Talking to a lot of counselors from other schools. They'll take the dog down to ELA. Let the kids read to the dog. We have our intervention class I can take her into. There's a lot of things I can use her outside of students coming into our office with crisis. When I say crisis, just upset, something, had a bad day, crying, whatever it may be. She would be there to help out. Again, she would be more of a tool for us to help out. But basically, in a nutshell, that's what her role would be. I would ease her into it. I've started to take her to Gateway Middle School in the evening and just walk the hallways with her, just so she gets familiar, so she knows it. But that's basically how it goes. She is insured. That was a big thing. That was a question I had. And she said, when I was talking to Gloria about it, she's insured through the Alliance Therapy Dog, the ADTs. They're through her when she goes out and she goes, if I take her to like the library or something like that, she goes, but there's a separate insurance that I would have for her once she gets certified. It's $300. It covers, it's the $2 million policy plus $10,000 on her that she would get sick or hurt or whatnot. Again, I'm not asking, I'm just paying for them, so just, I want her to be insured. Do you know what I mean? I want the school to be protected, but I also want her to be protected also. So that's another thing. So there's no money involved at all. She would be with me all the time. Unless I had something going on. I know I run like an 8th grade voice mentor group where we go to a lot of places. She can stay up. She would get. But as you guys can see, she's really good. If you grew up with dogs, I've grown up with dogs. There are certain dogs that I've had that have grown up that I would never even think of to be a repeat dog. They're just kind of high strung. Her temperament is just phenomenal. She's just such an even keel kind of dog. Just very laid back. And when I was talking to Tony Willie at Penn Trafford and a couple of the other school districts, I was very intrigued about having her be, part of the school. So.
How old is she?
She's 4 years old. Yeah, that's part of the requirement. They have to be at least 1 year old to even be to be certified as a therapy dog. The other part of it, Mrs. Sherman, she gave me the policy that Penn Trafford used. She goes, why read that through? She goes, I wrote the policy. Tony gave it to their solicitor. It wasn't lawyer friendly. So they kind of rewrote it. So the policy, Dr. Rossi, they gave you a copy of it, Dr. J.D. So I would imagine it to be something similar to that. Again, why reinvent the wheel when it comes to writing a policy on that. So that's the plan for Kyle.
I love it. That's wonderful. I wanted to let you know, in my job, we have them in the courtrooms for the kiddos. Center for Victims also has them. Center for Traumatic Stress has them. And they come into our offices for the workers. I'm not even-
Wait a minute. Say that again.
They come to, once, I think it was every couple of weeks, we have a therapy dog that comes in specifically for the workers.
Comes on the staff.
Yeah, but at any family division courts in Allegheny County, they will sit in the courtroom with them. They will sit in the waiting room with them. We have them at different evaluations, and they are phenomenal for the anxiety of kids.
Down to Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely take her down to the hospital to play with the kids for sure. On one of my times going down there. And I don't want to steal Gloria's thunder, because if you guys are going to come to that speaker series on December 11th, she'll tell you some of the stories she told me, like what dogs have done for kids. I was amazed. I never thought how powerful they could be, which really is why I'm here tonight, is because I think she would do phenomenal with the kids.
Thank you for doing that.
Being a huge animal, I mean, I'd steal her nut in a minute. My cat might not be real thrilled, but because she is so petite and she's a sweetie pie, what do you do about aggressive kids? Because let's face it, there are some kids that would like to hurt a dog instead of look at it. Because, I mean, if it's a huge dog, it's intimidating, but she's just a fluff ball.
So far, and even, I mean, I've been a counselor for 15 years, and we kind of know who those kids are.
Right.
You kind of just keep a really close eye on those kids. There's really not a kid that I can think of, or even our building right now, that's like, well, to their age. Probably be for confidentiality reasons. I can't say those names, but yeah, and that's what even Mr. Jack said. They're not to be around us.
99% of the time you would be real comfortable with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because she's
And
just
on
a
top of that,
peanut. Yeah.
like, you can tell.
Yeah.
Especially when the kids come in, they're crying.
Right.
They're, again, she's there for the comfort, just to calm them down. And that's what I've heard from a lot of other counselors. You'll be surprised at what the kids will start telling you, because they're talking to the dog, not realizing
Not
that
you're
sitting
listening.
there, listening. So, yeah, we pick up.
Well, thank you for bringing him to our school district. Now, will he need an ID?
Is that a girl?
Yeah, someone said that.
Girl?
We can make her ID.
Yeah, I really think we need to get him an
Oh,
ID.
definitely some gator gear.
Okay.
My wife was like, we'll get the scarves. She come to school
She
with the scarf on, the gators.
need to check with Sue.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Taylor, one quick question.
Yes.
You probably already know this, but some kids may be sensitive to who knows what, dander
Yes.
or dogs or
Yes.
sounds or something like that. And so if an occasion occurred like that, you would know that this is not the season for the dog.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
And that's really our setup in our counseling office is really nice, because we have that extra room off to the side. So there's two ways I can go about that. I can either put her in the grade while we're in my office, or I could, if the student was really nervous, we can go to the other room and just leave her. So
But, play it by ear.
yeah,
Very good, thank you.
yeah, then I have things I can do. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from residents on agenda items? No? Mike normally does the minutes, right?
Yeah. Board member discussion item.
Oh, anybody have board member discussion items? Donna? Dr. Singh? No. Mr. Ritter?
I have something rolling around the back of my brain about Title IX, but I think we need to let the dust settle before we even begin to talk about that, because the dust ain't even settled yet.
Okay,
So
It's
let's
still
just,
mixing
we'll
around.
have a board discussion eventually, but not today.
okay. Ms. Mungo?
I have a question. Dr. Rossi, are we still going to Evergreen on Thursday, 9:30 walkthrough?
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay. Just want to make sure since you're out of town.
And minutes, can I have a motion to approve the minutes
That
from,
makes a motion to approve the 2 sets of minutes that were delivered in the agenda.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Financial reports.
You got Mike?
Yeah,
First off, I want to congratulate Mrs. McBride and Mrs. Warning. Welcome aboard. Item 5.1, list of bills for December of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
we have a roll call for, may we have a roll call, please, Janice?
Mr. Bova?
Aye.
Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. McBride?
Aye.
Ms. Mungo?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Dr. Singh?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mrs. Boyce?
Aye.
Personnel. Dr. Jakey?
Thank you, Mr. McBride. Under personnel, we have one item, 6.1, employment of one individual as listed.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
No discussion.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dr. Jakey, administrative resolutions?
And for item 7, we have item 7.1, approve policy 249. Item 7.2, approve bake club at Gateway Middle School. And item 7.3, approve the conference as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Bake club.
Yeah, that was my question.
that. It's gone, this is out of control. So we had any discussion about a bake club?
Yes, we did.
Is this the news?
Yes.
Is this
There
in
is
the
no
news?
supplemental.
No.
No,
No, there was a supplemental?
there is no supplemental for this.
There was no supplemental for Bake Club? I thought maybe it was just me. I don't remember that, Jackie. either.
Taste the foods.
Oh, that's the supplemental we have to taste at first?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Quality control.
well, seriously though, I don't remember anything about that.
They be baking here at school, or where is this?
Yeah,
gonna
how's
take
this
place?
working?
This is a club that was at the high school with the teacher when she was at the high school. She's moved to Gateway Middle, so she wants to just continue the club with students at Gateway Middle.
So we already had a teacher in the supplemental, we're just shifting
And
buildings.
there's no supplemental for it, it's just a club.
It's just a
that
club,
she
there's no
chose-
supplemental,
Yeah, that she chooses to do.
and we're eliminating the club in the high school since she moved.
No, that's gonna stay intact, but that's with a different teacher.
Oh, okay.
We're expanding our baking. Sounds good. Okay. Do I need a roll call for these ones?
Yes.
Janet, can we have a roll call for 7133, please?
Yes. Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. McBride?
Aye.
Ms. Mungo?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Dr. Singh?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mrs. Boyce?
Aye.
Mr. Bova?
Aye.
Administrative resolutions.
Yes, thanks, Mrs. McBride. Item 8.1, Act 1 Index for 25 Gateway Middle School.
He broke up. Does anybody have any questions on?
I'm sorry, you want me to repeat that?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Item
Sorry.
8.1, the Act 1 Index for the 25-26 school year, and item 8.2, change orders for Gateway Middle School.
Does anybody have any questions?
Mike, are we looking to not increase taxes?
That's the goal, Mrs. Warning. All we're doing is telling PD we're not gonna rate, we have, the index for 25-26 school year is 5.0, which equates to 1.23 mils. But we're telling the public, we're not gonna raise taxes beyond 25.2718 mils.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so Mike, I think I've asked you this before, anything else, but I know there's discussion with the incoming federal administration about eliminating the Department of Education. And so could you give us a total amount that we get from the federal government that would impact our budget?
Yes, we get roughly $9 million a year in all our federal funding. I reached out to PASBO and some other business managers I know. As of now, no one knows anything about that actually happening. You know, so we would have to plan for it. Being in our fund balance after the audit's over, we're probably gonna have about $8 to $9 million in there. We would have to obviously figure out a plan if it would go through and if it would be eliminated. I can't see it happening in the immediate future, but down the road, it's definitely, we were going to have to consider it.
Thank you.
Did you say 8 to 9 million?
Yeah, we get $9 million in our federal funding, all our different title programs and special ed programs.
Mike, reading all these articles about the county and their intention to raise taxes, the last thing I saw, there was like a little blip in it about the assessments. They're talking about raising the taxes at this county level, but they're still talking about doing something with this assessment system. Do you know where we're at with the assessment business?
Well, the assessments for the 25-26 school year already had to be filed by October 1st,
Right.
remember?
Right,
Before we voted,
right.
so nothing can change that's not already been filed. And, you know, and all the hearings are coming up on them. It's definitely not gonna be as bad as last year.
Okay.
We don't have as many big cases that we did last year.
Yeah, I realize for this year, but they're talking about they're talking about the tax increase and they're talking about doing something with the whole assessment system.
Well,
So that's-
yeah, that's in litigation right now in court, but Allegheny County is talking about raising taxes for Allegheny County for themselves.
Right, but the assessment, whatever they do, would impact us.
Right,
Because that
but
was part of what was in the articles about.
Exactly,
County.
that's probably 2 to 3 years away if the court decides to go that route.
Okay.
Mr. Walsh, the change order. Yeah, I figured since you showed up, we're gonna ask you a question. Nice to see you in person. I'm not that you don't show up. That sounded mean. It did, didn't it?
He's here virtually.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The change order, unforeseen stormwater tank. What?
Right.
Did we locate treasure and it was empty?
No, unfortunately. Looking at the pictures, I was not here when this was discovered as being needed to be replaced.
Okay.
But if you look at the lower right-hand corner of the pictures, these pictures were taken in 11 of 21. So that's when they discovered it. Why it took this long to get to the board level for payment, I can't answer that question. But what that is in between two storm drains, sometimes they'll put oversized pipes, and that's to slow the amount of water going down into the main system. And the way the water flows down by the PennDOT house there, they needed to retain some water so they wouldn't flood out that whole section down there. So that's why it was there. Now, as to why they didn't know it was there, I don't know that. A lot of times in the 70s and 80s, they put these pipes in and nobody knew they were there.
Right.
Or at least 20 boards ago, maybe they did. But, you know, no one now knows them. They're not on any prints because they didn't have as-bills back then.
So this was already completed.
That's been completed. It was completed in 21 because the building actually now sits up to it almost. Right? It's built up the hillside.
Okay.
This was completed in 2021.
2021, they quite completed it in 22 because it had to be completed before they put the foundation of the wings coming out.
And,
Yeah.
and Mike, to your knowledge, this was never paid.
Yeah, exactly. They never put a bill in for it. I talked to Doug last week about it. I guess they completely forgot. So it is legit. You can look at the pictures there. They did do the work.
They forgot about a $24,000 bill.
Yeah. I know it's hard to believe, but that's what Doug relayed to me. If you look at the dates on there, I mean, it does go back from a couple of years.
Okay.
So we really made that adjustment there because of the PennDOT building,
So that was put in to keep that whole roadway from
the whole roadway, because we
Yeah.
explained the PennDOT.
Right, that size of that tube being 6 or 8 feet can hold, 10,000 gallons of water. And then the hole going through the manhole will only be maybe 12 inches.
Right.
So that it drains slowly and the water management can handle it.
All right. Can we have a roll call on this one here, please?
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. McBride?
Aye.
Ms. Mungo? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Dr. Singh?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mrs. Boyce? Aye. Mr. Bova? Mrs. Burns?
Aye.
And Dr. Rossi, superintendent reports.
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
I have no board member resolutions. Do I have any comments from resident items on from residents on non-agenda items? Can I have a motion to?
You should announce that we had an executive meeting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We did have executive meeting, from 5:30 to, about 5:55 on, legal and personnel.
Make a motion to adjourn, please.
Oh, I thought we were going to say something.
Did you have something to say?
We usually go around the room.
I apologize. I didn't have any listed under board committee reports.
Well, no, really, just to wish everyone, our residents, parents, staff, and board members, wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Diwali, Happy whatever. Wish all of you a wonderful, safe holiday coming up for the next few weeks, and look forward to seeing all of you again here in the new year.
Thank you for everything you do. Appreciate it. With that, seek a motion to adjourn.
Anybody else have anything?
Donna, you wanted to say something. What was it?
She looks bad.
Oh, no. No, those are just my notes. I can take notes.
Okay.
And yes, I'm wearing pink and green because I did go see Wicked.
How was it?
Oh, wonderful. A lot of themes, positive toward animals and people. Everybody should go see it.
Second the motion for adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.